Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Real Podcasters, specifically episode 80. That's all I've got. The end. Goodbye.
You've already forgotten.
Yeah, I've forgotten everything else we're doing this week, obviously. This is the weekly podcast that we do where we discuss all things movies, TV shows, video games, and a bunch of other things in no particular order. My name's Regan, as ever, and I'm joined once again by my vapingly classic co-host.
Classic co-host.
I just thought of that on the fly. It doesn't work. Anyway, it's Dan. Dan, say a hi, Dan.
Hi, you questionable cinema release.
I mean, there's been a few of those. There has been.
Hint as to what we're talking about today.
Funnily enough, yeah. So we are doing our yearly tradition where we sort of look back on the cinematic train wreck that has been convenient enough every single year since COVID. That's just how that one works. Doing things a little bit differently, though, because as entertaining as it is for me to do a nice long list of awards, it's fine for me. I know Dan struggled every year. Poor sod.
Yeah, he really did, because he has no other life, and he just chooses to not watch anything but horror films, so pretty much all of his lists are just catered to the horror genre, mostly, with the occasion of one or two things. But then most people, if they're listening for the first time, they're probably like, what the hell are these people talking about? I don't understand the terminology.
There's so many like references and in-jokes and stuff that we've done for so long now that if you literally just opened up on our podcast now, so much of it is going to make no sense.
Oh, I really hope they've opened up with the Dark Knight one.
Well, currently it's
just
nearly at 100.
Just that intro
Oh,
alone.
it's beautiful, mate. Honestly, it's just beautiful. No, it's nearly at 100. We're nearly there. And,
nearly. I think it's 93 or something, so I'm
last time I checked,
the fact that people actually listen to us.
Dan, you're making it out as if no one listens to us. It's still quite low, but that's just what happens when you're starting out. I'm going quieter because I'd like it to be more. But no, if you're not subscribed yet, please do. That would really help us out. In fact, actually, as of when we're recording,
we do have one more subscriber.
We do, but they're private, so I don't know who it is. So whoever it is who is subscribed and is our 33rd subscriber in our third year of podcasting, thank you very much. And hopefully you enjoyed this particular episode where we are dealing with the ups and downs of 2023. Emphasis on downs. Although, actually saying that, my ups list is higher than the downs because...
Yeah, mine is too, actually, now that
I think it's
having a second read of it.
Well, it's weird because, I mean, we've been very critical of, especially 2023. That being said, I think, considering we also made a pact where we try really hard to not cover stuff that's rubbish, unless it's in, like, a retrospective format. So, obviously, bar something like Ant-Man 3 and Indiana Jones 5, movies of which that may or may not be discussed on this particular episode. Who knows? Obviously they are. We try really hard to just avoid the crappy stuff. So this is probably the only time that we might actually cover a little bit.
Just a teeny bit, yeah.
And if people are wondering, are we going to discuss our favourite film and least favourite film, I feel like we're probably going to.
Probably. I mean, I'm still quite undecided of what my favourite film might be, because I have quite a few choices.
Well, that's fine. So basically how this one's going to work is we're just going to go back and forth with myself and Dan on an up or a down from 2023. This will mostly cover movies. I've got a bit of extra, like, TV shows. I haven't got video games, because I think
I've got one.
I've got two, maybe three. But I'm not going to cover them because those two or three are the only ones I've played from 2023. One of them being a visual remake of a previous game, so it doesn't really count. So this should be quite interesting. So hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully it's not too rambly, because I'll be buggered if I have to edit this thing and it's rambly as hell. Which is most of our episodes, funnily enough.
Yeah, I mean, the Godzilla -1 one must have been a joy to edit.
Let's get into it. So I think I'll kick things off first. We'll kick things off with a down. I think just for fun. We'll just get one of the negative ones out of the way.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about my least favorite film of the year.
Oh,
Now-
nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to get that one out of the way because
Could I
don't.
have a potential guess as to what this might be?
Of course you can, Dan. No, it's not
Is it-
Indiana Jones 5.
No, I was actually going to go with that, but then I remembered there was something a little bit worse than that this year. Last year, rather. I keep sometimes forgetting that it's still 2024. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Or whatever it's called.
No. In fact, looking at my ranking
It's
of 2023, which you can on Letterboxd, I highly recommend you do. It's incredibly, listy.
Listy.
Yeah, very, very listy. Now, that one, funnily enough, is number 11.
So close.
It just missed out on the worst of the worst. It's sandwiched between Gran Turismo and Indiana Jones and the Why of Destiny. Again, another in-joke that people will not guess. No, do you want to take another guess, or do you want us to just...
Well, my other one would be the other Captain Marvel film that came out.
That one is number 15. Sandwiched between...
Okay, so we're getting
It's a-
closer.
Yeah, so sandwiched between It's a Wonderful Knife and
It's a
Rebel Moon
Wonderful
Part...
Knife.
and Rebel Moon Part 1, because screw that thing. Don't care what anyone says, it's rubbish.
Okay, right. Well, I'm stumped for now.
No. It always ends up being a really weird film that suddenly becomes my least favourite. I think even last year, I think it was Night of the Museum, Carmen Ra Rises Again, or some crap like that barely passes as a movie. But I had to include it. No, this one is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Oh my... Well, do you know what it is? It's probably a good thing that I've forgotten about it because I haven't watched it yet.
It's it's not a film.
I think it's got to be one of the worst rated films on Letterboxd so far. I'm pretty sure like it's 1.2 average or something like that. Like it is really low.
You're almost there. It's 1.1.
Is it? Oh,
Yes,
so
it's
went down again.
1.1. I mean, granted, it's been seen
Oh
by
my.
67,000 members of the Letterboxd community, who, of course, I respect to the utmost. Every single one of them. Is that sarcasm? Could you tell it was sarcasm, Dan?
A little bit.
A little bit, because some of them are complete rubbish. Although I am questioning why it says you want to watch it.
Yeah, do you know, I totally
Get it off.
forgot about it.
For reference, I think
It's
we're getting the
probably a
sequel.
good thing.
I mean, I think we're getting the sequel this year. There's,
Oh yeah,
it's
at some point this year. I think it's got some title as well. I can't remember what the hell it's called though.
I can't remember what it is, but I know Tigger's in it.
Oh, great.
So of course Tigger's going to become a mass murderer with a knife,
So
even
when
though
we
he has
get to
claws.
the third one, the owl is going to appear as well.
Owl's already in it, but just as a drawing.
Oh.
Owl's
Cameo.
Owl's been killed. And
Yeah, I
Eeyore-
can't really blame you for giving this pretty much the bottom because
I think the reason
from,
why I
from
gave
what
it,
I've read about it and the clips that I've seen, it just sounds absolutely disgraceful.
it's one of those things. My personal philosophy is that I try really hard to not put really, really cheap movies at the bottom of a list because, both of us know how difficult it is to make a movie of any sort of budget. It's
Oh, yeah.
really, really difficult. We make it look easy. But in the case with this one, I think the reason I had it so down at the bottom is because in concept this could have absolutely worked. Maybe not really well, but it could have been acceptable. That being, I think, if it focused exclusively on the relationship between Pooh, Piglet, and Christopher Robin, I might have actually cared, but no, it focuses on a bunch of teenage girls that are getting slaughtered, as per freaking usual. And even the comments from the director or the producer or whatever, who's doing a whole bunch of other ones, like he's doing a Bambi one. And a Peter Pan one. And there's a Mickey Mouse one now.
So is his aim just to make like slasher-centered Disney characters now?
I'm going to call it the PDCU. This is the
PDCU.
public domain cinematic universe.
Well, it's like when the Mickey Mouse thing, I'm sure everybody's seen this. Obviously, Mickey Mouse was made public domain. So as soon as it was made public domain, there was like loads of slasher websites saying, oh yeah, there's like a Mickey Mouse slasher film coming. Like, who on earth needs that? Well, me,
And to
actually, I kind of want to see that.
Well,
But then again, I said the same about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
and to think, they could have easily made the Mickey Mouse one interesting by actually having it set on a steamboat as opposed to a theme park. But again, that would require... what's that word? Intelligence. There we go, that one. Yeah, anyway, this one's at the bottom. Do you want to brighten things up with like an up?
I do want to brighten things up a little bit. Yeah,
Nice.
I think I'm going to go with one of two surprising cinema releases. Well, they surprised me anyway. I
Okay.
thought they were quite surprising. We're kicking off with the 11th entry into the Saw franchise. No, that's wrong. No, the 10th entry into the Saw franchise. You see, there's
I was
that
saying,
many
10
of them.
is literally in the bloody title.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
We're kicking off with Sawks. Or
Socks.
Saw X. Yes. You know,
Socks,
John
if you're a
Kramer's
northerner.
infomercial with the Sawks. I really want to see that. Like, there's got to be, like, some bloopers somewhere of just him sitting in this grotty warehouse with loads of traps and stuff, and it's like, hi, I'm John Kramer. You know, when I'm making my death traps, I find that my feet get really cold. That's why I invented the socks. And it's just some, like, white socks with the little Saw logo on.
The way you opened that up, it honestly sounded like it was going to be, hi, I'm John Kramer and welcome to Jackass.
Hi, I'm John Kramer and
Imagine
welcome to
that.
Jackass.
Oh, now that'd be a crossover between Saw and Jackass.
What, so he just gets the Jackass cast and he just puts them through a load of traps?
Yeah. I mean, like, they've already done it for however many movies it is, of which were very, very funny.
Hi, I'm John Kramer, welcome to Jackass. Today we're going to put people through the bear trap walk of doom.
Again.
Again, for the 7th time.
No, I mean,
No, I was really surprised with Saw 10 because, well, as for many franchises, that you eventually hit the wall of mediocrity, if not total fecal matter, when it comes to, you know, your later part of films. I mean, you know, the last Saw film, Saw 3D, was just... Well, it was 3D, it was just god-awful, though. It was
yeah.
terrible.
I can imagine.
Spiral was no better either, which was just a complete and utter dumpster fire in my mind. And Jigsaw was okay. But this, they decided to go back a bit with it taking place, I think, between the original Saw and Saw 3. I believe.
I want to say it was between 1 and 2, but I could be wrong.
1 or
I could
2. It's
easily be
either
wrong. I mean,
one of those. It's either 1 or 2 or
don't
1
know.
and 3. Something like that. But no, I was really surprised with it because I thought that I'm just going to get like another bunch of annoying characters who just maybe deserve to go through all this hell. But no, this one is probably my second favourite Saw film. I mean, the original's still my favourite one because I think that is just brilliant for what it is. The first of its kind before it influenced a whole bunch of filmmakers to make what is known as torture porn films.
I mean, I'd also say that Saw 10 is my second favourite in the franchise. That being said, that's because I've only seen this one and the first one. So,
Yeah.
by default it is. But I think, I mean, it's different for me, because, I mean, I quite liked it. I thought it was alright. But that's me knowing that I'm probably never going to watch the other sequels unless I'm, like, really intoxicated or something. I've got no interest. But also
really,
because...
really drunk.
Yeah, but mostly because I know that so many of them are terrible, so I'm not really going to choose to watch them.
I think once you get past the third one, it kind of just... Well, 5 and Saw 3D and Spiral, I think, are just the... They're the dumpster fires of the franchise, really. But yeah, I wouldn't exactly say you need to watch every single one of them, because you're not really missing on much. You've seen, like, the first one, and you've seen Sawks.
Yeah,
You've got the two best ones, really.
that's fine, and I can work with that.
Nah, but that's Saw. I was just really surprised with it, as I say, and I think it deserved it. Now, that's one of two, but I'll get to the second one later on during this recording.
Unless I suddenly reveal my up, and it's just the same one.
I doubt it, because you haven't seen it. At least I don't think you've seen it. I could be
Okay,
wrong.
that's fine. We'll kick off with my up for my favorite movie of the year. I'm just going through like the big ones first, and then talk about the rest afterwards. Godzilla -1. Now this one's going to be quick because we talked about it last week.
Yes, we did talk about it.
And just love talking about it. I was listening to the soundtrack again this morning. I'm just like, this is the best one, and it's one of the things. I'm sure I said it at the time. It's almost heresy to even suggest that the newest one in a franchise this long would be even close to the best, especially when the original is so loved and influential. But again, if you're going to continue a franchise this long, prove to me that you can do one that's as good, if not better, because that's the best thing to come out of it, frankly. Though, by the sounds of it, though, considering that you're like trying to figure out which is your favorite movie of the year, how likely is it for -1? Because I don't think we actually spoke about it last week.
Well, it's pretty much spot on, because I would say -1 is probably my favorite film of 2023.
Okay. What exactly would have been the other options? Because I'm actively trying to think of either anything we have both seen that I could pick from, or one that I'd assume off the top of my head, but I can't.
You see, that's quite a difficult one, because there's some that are really good as well, but I didn't enjoy them nearly as much as I did with -1. I'd probably say Across the Spider-Verse would probably be a runner-up, to be honest. Or I would say Evil Dead Rise. Nah, -1 had to be the top one, I think, because that was just... Well, you can listen to our thoughts on it, because Regan's going to put it in the description if he remembers.
Yeah, sure.
In the description.
Over to Dan.
Okay, well, I think we'll go for a downer here.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Funny enough, this is one that we've both seen.
Okay.
I can't quite remember when, but it pretty much has to go to Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Oh, I haven't watched that since. To be honest, I will actually pile onto this down and say my least favorite episode that we put out last year was the Shazam episode, because
we just ranted.
well, it's not even that we ranted, because it's one of the shortest regular episodes that we've done all year. We're quite good with the consistency to a point, but.
To a point.
Yeah, but from what I can remember, because obviously I haven't listened to it for a while. I don't tend to listen to myself very often anyway, because I have to edit my voice. It's not fun. But I do recall us really starting to run out of stuff to talk about. And I'm still recording.
I think we hit a bit of a wall when we were recording.
And I'd have to have a look at both my review and my rating, because I think I still said I liked the movie. The more I think about it, the more I don't. But I don't even think it's like David F. Sandberg's fault, the director. I purely think it's just the studio, much like with Aquaman 2, which I'm not going to reference here. It's boring as hell. It's about as interesting as the plastic bags in the ocean that this film will not stop talking about.
Nah, I had some expectations for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, because when the trailer came out, I remember it looked quite fun, and I like to think that Shazam is more of the fun superhero kind of film that you want to watch. It's not as like dark and depressing as something like the Batman. It's not as gritty. It's quite fun and upbeat. It's all poppy and all that kind of jiff. But I would say it's a little bit better than the original one. From what I remember, I mean, it's been yonky since I've watched the original Shazam, but this, I came out of the cinema and I just thought that wasn't really all that fun to me. Yeah, that had its ups for sure, but I just thought, nah. But then again, DCEU was somewhat nearing the end of the line, we'll say.
Well, to be honest, I don't have many fond memories of that one either. I will say, actually, when it comes to DC, I will briefly address The Flash in the Room. I wasn't actually going to have this one on the list, but this one's the outlier for me, because I've rated it a lot higher than other people have. Like, I've still got it as a 4, which is quite extensive given some people really hate that one, and it bombed humongously, as if people were surprised.
Oh, I remember seeing how badly it bombed. Like, it was... That thing went quick. That thing bombed harder than a lead balloon. Just...
But it's funny because I want to rewatch it, but I also don't want to at the same time because A, it's quite long. It's like 2 hours 20. It doesn't need to be. There is plenty of moments that I do like. The cast as well, I think, is really good. And despite everything that's happened with Ezra Miller, they were great. Like, they really were. Sasha Calle as Supergirl is so unfortunate because this is probably the only time she was ever going to play Supergirl on film, and she was great. And I was like, I want to see more of that. I want to see a lot more. But just so much just does not work. Ben Affleck has his best moments as Batman, I actually think. I mean the Batsuit is awful. It's just actually awful. Makes me look at the bat nipples and think, you know what, that was a phase.
Oh God,
but you know what, that's fine. This one looks like it was cobbled together with Lego. If you do ever see the film, tell me I'm wrong, and that's doing a disservice to Lego Batman. He fucking rocks. But it's one of those ones where, like,
well, a couple of reasons why I wanted to watch it is because it was long overdue, and the fact it had Michael Keaton's Batman in it as well. I thought, okay, that's a bit interesting, and Supergirl as well. Like, there was quite a bit that I wanted to watch. I still haven't watched it.
If you do end up watching it, let me know, and I might rewatch it, and we'll do like a mini sort of something on it, because I can't talk about it for an hour. Because, I think initially I had the idea to do that, but I think I was like, I'll leave it to Dan. Like, if he actually wants to see it, and it's alright, we'll cover it. If he doesn't want to watch it, we're not doing it. If we do both watch it and we both think it's crap, we're not covering it. It's simple as that. But...
it's funny because I was thinking about this last night when I was just, checking the list, checking it twice, kind of thing.
Thrice.
Yeah. And Shazam was the only superhero film that I saw in cinema throughout 2023.
Well, bar one.
Bar one.
You'd have to really think about it because it's a very small one.
Bar one.
I suppose this one I could just go into my down.
Well, Spider-Man, yeah.
No.
True.
Oh, okay, actually, another one.
Well, it was the only DC one that I saw in cinema throughout 2023. That's better.
Yeah, okay, that works better. That's better.
That's much better, yeah. I had absolutely no ambition to watch Aquaman 2. It's not that I don't even like Aquaman. I do like Aquaman, but I just could not be bothered to see this because I just looked at the trailer and thought, what the hell is this? I mean, even James Wan's bloody directing it, and I love James Wan as a director. He's gave us some of the best modern-day horror films. Insidious, The Conjuring, Insidious 2, Conjuring 2. He's done a lot of sequels.
Malignant.
Saw.
Really love Malignant.
Yeah, and then I just thought, nah, I don't need to see it. I have absolutely no ambition to watch it at all. I just thought, there's going to be better things.
There is, and, actually, talking about a better thing, and actually one of the ones that I'm really disappointed that we didn't cover, because I also went in with really low expectations, was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I have an admittance to make. I still haven't watched it.
Okay, that's fine, because if you turn around and said that you have seen it, I'm buggering up the bloody schedule, and we're talking about it very, very soon.
I will watch it, but I don't want to cry just yet.
Well, you see, that's the thing. I haven't had an emotional reaction to a movie like this in a long time, and it was actually funny. When I was at work a couple of days ago, a friend of mine, she said that she'd watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't know if it was for the first time or I think it was the first time one. And, not to give anything away for Dan, but she was talking about a particular moment that I'd referenced prior. And she's like, I totally get why you broke down in tears, because I did as well. And at that point, like, literally, as I'm like preparing like load of vegetables and stuff for work, and I have like me my headphones and I'm listening to the score. For the first time, I actually listened to the full score. And it gets to a certain point, and mate,
And it's
the knife,
it's paired with
the
that
knife
scene.
The knife stopped cutting. It just I left it on the chopping board, and I just had a moment. And I'm like,
God.
no, like, oh dear. Like, here's the thing, right? Yeah, going in, just know full well that you are going to get upset because it's a really, I mean, it gets dark, but I love that. Like, genuinely, and I have to have a look at my list again because I need to rewatch it. I haven't had the chance to because it's, you know, again, it's a long one, and because I've suddenly started watching Sherlock again. Great stuff. Did you actually watch Sherlock? Just while I'm...
No.
If you ever do, let me know and I'll do a schedule.
If you do.
But I'm sure I think I said that Guardians 3 had the capacity to be my favourite film in the MCU. And that's saying something because...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying that it was like the absolute best of the trilogy. I mean, all two of those films that I've seen so far are brilliant. I love Guardians of the Galaxy films. They're fantastic.
I love Guardians too. Like, I love it more than other people do. I love how technically smaller it is, but just bigger for all the characters, and it just gets bloody wacky, and I love that.
I will definitely watch Guardians 3 at some point, and probably have an emotional breakdown, because everybody
just know that, yeah, I will
says
have to
that
do
it
a
will
mini-sode
upset
on
you.
it. Yeah, honestly, I really need to rewatch it again, because it just proves why James Gunn needed to finish that series, because if he seriously didn't get the chance to do that, well, I couldn't really say anything because I wouldn't be able to say anything because the film wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But I think if someone else had taken over that, would not have worked, would not have had the same reaction, and only James Gunn could have made that movie. And that's the only reason I'm still vaguely interested in what he does with DC going forward, even though I think given the year we've had, I don't know what that's gonna do for his plans, because it's not been great. It's not been great.
Yeah,
but I think, I think for me, Guardians 3, I think, was one of the biggest surprises of the year. Up there with Godzilla -1. Went in with like, yep, that just needs to be good. Oh great, I can't see because I'm crying.
I can't see the screen properly because I can't stop crying.
Because my irises are melting right now. Screw you, James Gunn.
Ripping my heart out again.
Literally again. Over to you.
Now, normally I would do another downer, so I will mention this right here, right now. I'm not going to talk about it because we've spoken about it before. It was just a complete and utter dumpster fire. Well, in my mind, anyway. It was Ant-Man Quantumania. We've done an episode on this. Just go listen to that.
Or don't go and listen. Actually, no, listen to it because it's better than the film. Because
yeah,
we get
our
really
commentary
angry.
is actually better than the film.
You know what it is? Like, I was slightly tempted to rewatch it at some point, and then everything happened with Jonathan Majors, and I was like, okay, no, not gonna bother now.
So instead, we're gonna be a bit more positive.
Oh, okay, we're gonna be a little bit more positive.
Bit more positive. Now, this wasn't really on my agenda to see at first, but then it was recommended to by my girlfriend, and we had nothing to really do, so she was like, do you fancy just going to see Haunting in Venice? And I was like, yeah, why not?
Okay. That's a bit of a hot take there.
All these films that he's done, the director, you know, Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, as well as Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile I thought was pretty pants.
Oh, it was awful. Bad.
The Orient Express one I thought was fine. Didn't really need to be rebooted, whatever. But you know that's not the point. But this one I think is the best one out of this trilogy now. It's basically Poirot goes spooky, and it's quite funny at times because he's so in denial that the spirits and stuff. It's like it is tricks. There are tricks here. Like, I've seen enough horror films to know that it's probably not a trick. But I quite like it. I mean, it's not brilliant by any means necessary. The problem with those films is they kind of have like a really like... You've got this line and then it just stoops pacing-wise and you kind of just like... I've been sat here for 15 minutes and nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
But I quite liked it. I mean, it was just a pretty empty screening because I think it had been out for like a week or so. But we were just at a loose end, so we thought, why the hell not?
I mean, there's certainly some fairly good ones for me. I mean, as I say, 2023 has been such a random year. I mean, in terms of some movies that I think I liked more than other people did, I quite like Renfield, actually. I saw that one.
You know what it is?
Really
I'm
recently.
quite gutted I missed that in cinema.
It's on Sky, so it's on like Now TV and stuff. If people are interested, it's by no means like great. I mean, it's it's pushing it to call it a good movie, but
I just think it looks really funny.
There is, I think it contains my favorite joke in 2023. Do I spoil it? Yeah, I'll spoil it because Dan will forget. It's fine.
Dan will forget it.
But there's a moment where it absolutely takes the mick out of the logic of vampires when they need to be invited in.
Yeah.
So Dracula, played by Nicolas Cage, very well by Nicolas Cage, crazily by Nicolas Cage. He breaks into Renfield's apartment that he's rented out after leaving this abusive relationship with Dracula. And he's questioning how Dracula got in. And he looks down at the doormat and it says, "Please come on in."
That is brilliant. That is actually brilliant.
My face hurt so much after that. I was like, we can never do this joke again. But I want to see that joke again. And I just rewound it and just played it again. I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant. This is such a good idea. But it makes sense because I'm sure with the director's the same one who did the Lego Batman movie, which has a lot of irreverent humor and is the best of the Lego movies. If I'm completely honest, it's far better than it has any right to be. Also because it has Lego Daleks in it. Although funny enough, I think I had A Haunting in Venice not too far down on that list from Renfield. I think I liked Renfield a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely ones that I like more on this list, but I think I would just go with that, to not be as depressing.
Yeah, well, I mean, even stuff like The Last Voyage of the Demeter, I quite enjoyed for what it was. Evil Dead Rise, Scream 6, I also quite liked. I mean, those two I definitely didn't enjoy nearly as much as you did, but I really want to rewatch Scream 6 in the wake of probably not getting a Scream 7 after everything that's happened with that.
I think it would be a very foolish thing to do if Scream 7 came out within the next couple of years. I think they just need to give it a break while they figure things out, because if they, for whatever reason, decide to release a Scream Skesevenim,
Scream again.
Yeah, Scream again. I'm going to scream in anguish.
Sorry, Dan, that was harsh. To be honest, I mean, you could easily give it a rest because Scream as a franchise is designed specifically for this kind of thing. So you could absolutely do something completely different again, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think it could work. I think it'd be funny if they just set it during the events of making a stab movie. Just do that. Be fine with that.
Well, I mean, they kind of did that with Scrithrium.
Oh, Christ, yeah, they did. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they could just do it again. But, hey, I could just do it. Now, this was literally yesterday when I watched this for the first time, so this is like a new watch for me.
Okay.
Saltburn.
Okay, you're gonna have to keep that one very vague because I have it in my. Fully enough, I was just having this conversation with one of my colleagues at work about it because even she'd asked me, "He's like, have you seen Saltburn?" I'm like, funnily enough, no, I haven't. It's like, do you like weird films? I'm like, well, I have watched Poor Things recently with Emma Stone as a recently reanimated woman, Frankenstein style, and it gets weird.
I'm not gonna lie. This might just be probably the most messed up thriller I've ever watched. It's just so weird, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's fine. I can work with that.
Yeah. So, Saltburn is very weird. But now we'll go into some... Actually, no, you know what? I'll do the second most surprising horror film in cinema.
The one that...
But at least I thought it was surprising.
Actually, no, wait. Actually, I can pretty much guess this one immediately, and I haven't seen it ever.
No, you have not seen it.
Is it that one that's based on a holiday?
Could be. Might be.
Is be.
Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
There we go. I am very good at this job, aren't I? I'm very good at guessing films that you see that I haven't.
Yeah, this really surprised me, actually. Probably a little bit more than Saw X in terms of a retrospective. But yeah, I really like this, and it's quite mixed with a lot of people, but I really, really liked it. And I've only seen one film by Eli Roth, which was Green Inferno, and I didn't really enjoy that.
I'll tell you one to not watch, even though you have.
Uh-oh.
Insidious 5.
Oh my god, well, actually, yeah, there's probably a reason why I didn't mention this.
Well, that's the thing, because I think you were a lot more negative on it than I was, but I don't remember being even remotely positive either. Like...
Yeah, Look, I needed to watch the one before, which I think is Last Key, and I put that off for ages, and I mean, Last Key it's okay at best. It's pretty mediocre. So I was like, okay, well, this one might be better, but I'm not exactly expecting, like, James Wan era Insidious. I'm really not. Jesus, it was just... Like, are you telling me that a lick of red Dulux paint just keeps the demons away? Like, are you shitting me?
It absolutely had potential, but at the same time, no one was asking for the... First of all, no one asked for this thing to be a franchise this long going.
No.
Which is odd, because it's only slightly over a decade old. Like, I think it was 2010 when the first one came out.
Yeah, the original one was 2010.
Yeah. And even then, the only other one that I even remotely enjoyed was Insidious 3. Everything else, bar 1 and 3, has been crap. Especially 5. Like, that one... Try and ask me what the plot is. I couldn't even
tell you.
remember.
Could not tell you.
King Orm, the Ocean Master from Aquaman's in this. And the little kid from Iron Man 3, who's locked up in a garage because his parents hate him, is also in this film with suspiciously long hair. Doesn't look like him at all. Not that I usually comment on that sort of thing. It was just a weird inclusion. And there's a door, and I assume it's, I don't know, violet? Auburn?
Burgundy?
In Insidious, the burgundy door.
Yeah, it's just like loads of bootleg titles of it.
Does it?
Yeah, doesn't really quite roll off.
Again, they could have just set this in home base. To be honest, it would have made more sense.
I could not honestly tell you anything that happens in that film at all, because it was just an absolute snore fest. It was worse than Last Key, and Last Key was fairly dull. I kind of felt that way about another one from this year, which was The Nun 2. The Nunning.
The Nunjuring.
The Nunjuring
again.
The Nunjuring again, yeah. Wasn't expecting absolute brilliance, but it's one of the... Well, I hope to God we don't get a third one. We don't need this thing to be a franchise.
I mean, if it made money, then it probably would.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it did make an awful lot of money. I think it did really quite well in the first week, box office-wise. So, more than likely, we're going to get another one. It is slightly better than the original, I think, because it's not as reliant on jump scares, but then it just goes into, like, the typical possession cliches and tropes that everybody's seen a gazillion times, and we're just a bit sick of it.
Oof. You know what? I might have to stick with the downers just for a little bit longer. Just to get out of it.
Well, this is getting to be depressing, isn't it?
We will open it up again in a minute. I'm just going to say, instead of just focusing exclusively on the most disappointing film of the year, that being Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I'm just going to say Disney in general for completely screwing up 2023. Like, bar Guardians, I can't name a single Disney-related thing I actually liked in 2023.
Maybe a few parts of Ahsoka. Maybe.
The more I think about Ahsoka, the more
Here we go.
the more well, it isn't because I haven't watched it for ages. I haven't watched it since we covered it.
Again,
same.
episodes in the description.
Oh, I'm gonna run out of space on that. I might have to do like a full playlist of just everything that we covered in that year specifically.
Yeah, you might have to.
I could do that. I'll do that. And the more I think about Ahsoka, it's pretty much similar to the way I think about Mandalorian Season 3. In that, the more I think about
mediocrity.
Yeah. And even then, we can briefly talk about this now because at least it's been announced that even though they announced 3 new Star Wars movies at the beginning of this year, or last year, I forget, they've then fast-tracked The Mandalorian and Grogu as a movie that's coming out probably next year. That is just shameful, frankly. And I'm not excited because that absolutely proves that Disney have just completely given up. It's like, well, they'll like this one. Like, no, we liked it 3 years ago. We don't like it that much right now.
It's
like,
always a worry when you have a Star Wars series that is into its 3rd season, potentially going into its 4th, and you're going to make like a 2-hour tops film and you're expecting to cram everything that Mandalorian has been into like a 2-hour turd.
Like, I know
it's
that they
inevitable.
said... Well, I think because I know they said that they were going to do a Mandoverse movie, so it would tie in all the...
Mandoverse, I hate that.
I hate that, yeah, I know. Where it's like, it was going to tie in all the TV shows that they have done / are doing. So I think it includes Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, which I think comes out this year, apparently. I don't know much about that one. And I'm sat there thinking, that's fine. Do that as a series, though. Because there's too many properties. And I think the biggest reason to do that, actually, is the Marvels. Where that is a sequel to Captain Marvel. It's a sequel to Secret Invasion. It's a sequel to WandaVision. It's a sequel to Ms. Marvel. And I think I'm missing something else. And technically Endgame. All that, half of them are TV shows. Yes, people know about them, but how many people have actually watched it? Like, how many people actually care?
Yeah.
And look at the reaction. I mean, not just critically. I mean, it did... I think I said it was slightly better than the first film, but I don't like the first one anyway. This one was breezier and more entertaining because it was quite short. But at the same time, even myself, seeing a bunch of these ones, I'm still left utterly bamboozled as to what film it actually is. And you can tell even just from the...
Bamboozled.
I mean, genuinely I was, but even looking at the trailers, you look at the first trailer they did, it was actually quite fun. I think it had like a pop song or something over it. It was actually looked quite interesting. Then you get at the final trailer and it's like, witness the moment that changes everything, and you're like, wait, what? Oh, so all of a sudden this is a lot more important? Oh yeah, it's multiverse nonsense. Going forward, we're going to see the cinematic landscape change massively, even if it's just down to, stop spending $300+ million on these things that are just not going to make their money back at all. Looking at you, Indiana Jones 5. $300 million budget and makes what, like 400 million worldwide, and you're like, double oof. right in the wrinkles. Do you want to pick a positive
chap?
Yeah, do you want to pick a positive thing, Dan?
I think I'm going to have to now.
You're going to have to.
This has turned into an episode of The Real Randers again.
Oh, here we go again.
No, we'll go with something positive to change the atmosphere. I think. Similar to what you just mentioned, really, the best multiverse film of probably 2023. Well, there wasn't really anything else. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I've recently bought it on Blu-ray. It's taken me a while to get stuff like that for a while. I'm looking forward to rewatching that because it was. I can remember us talking about it. Link in the description. Link in the description, Regan. In the description. Wink, wink. And I can remember us having like a really big like conversation as to whether or not this was better than the first one. I think you were unequivocally saying this one was better, and that was you after only seeing the first one like a couple of days prior or something.
Probably like a couple of weeks prior, something like that.
Or something like yeah, weeks, sorry. And I think I was still on the fence, so I was like, I don't know. I think when I rewatch this, I think I might think that this one's better.
It is a fantastic film. It looks brilliant, especially when you get to the whole multiverse stuff, and it's just like, wow, you know, this is the multiverse stuff I wanted. Doctor Strange did not give me that.
It's so mental, like looking at what that one does, and it's so pedestrian in comparison.
Oh yeah,
it's like oh, in this universe, oh, instead of pizza slices, you have pizza balls. Instead of green on a traffic light means walk, green on a traffic light here means stop. Like, that's so unimaginative.
Yeah, it's so unimaginative compared to this one. It's definitely the best superhero film I saw, because I only saw three superhero films in that year.
Though I was curious, actually, as we start to wrap things up, this one might be slightly more difficult to sort of answer, because it's a little bit more... It's a little bit of a stranger question. Considering how many episodes we actually put out last year, what was your favourite one to actually do? Feel free to tell me that you can't answer that, because even I'm trying to think if I can or not. Because that's a very evil question.
With there being like 80 odd episodes, that is incredibly difficult.
Well, it's like I don't even mean like which one was the best full stop. I just mean from like what was like the most, because it's awkward, because I think one of my favorite ones to record wasn't even for the real podcast, as it was on Graveyard Chit Chat, and it was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. So that one was
we're gonna have to
beautiful.
talk about that again.
We might have to. Either you get that audio back and we'll put it onto... We'll basically just cheat. We'll just cheat.
Yeah, I think that was a fun one, but also I think when we did Cloverfield, I quite enjoyed the Cloverfield one.
I mean, ones that immediately spring to mind. I mean, the Comic-Con ones I always really like, because they're just
I mean, we always get a lot of positivity when we do the Comic-Con ones. Like when we did T-Side and...
T-Side one was fun.
Scarborough as well, actually.
I have been trying to contemplate which one we do next. I do have a couple of ideas. We can talk about that after we've done this. We don't need to tell people.
Secrecy.
But, yeah, of course. I mean, Simpsons Hit and Run. That one was a really fun one to do.
Oh, for sure. You know, just reminiscing on the nostalgia of a 2003 GTA for Kids game.
Oh, it was beautiful. I think actually, you know what? I think the other one that I was really happy with was actually the Chernobyl one, because it was one that
we did have quite a ball with the Chernobyl one. As dark as the series is, we did really like talking about it.
Or actually, you know what? I think one of the most hilarious ones, and I didn't design it to be the hilarious one, and it's your fault. As ever, it's just Dan's fault.
As ever.
Well, there's a reason for it, because it's the Halo Infinite one. Because you just completely screwed over my script. Like, right, I can't talk about this because I say I like it, and Dan's going to give me the
I think
really
that's got to be
side,
surely the hottest take so far that I've had on the Real Podcasters.
It was sizzling. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I mean that one was quite high. I mean, you know, we definitely had a lot of fun with recording, because we did try really hard to change it up and not do 2-hour long episodes. I don't miss that.
No.
No, I don't. Even the Doctor Who 60th specials, that one was nice to talk about, because it was like, we haven't spoken about good Doctor Who for about 5 or 6 actual Who related episodes. It's annoying.
Oh yeah. Doctor Who's always fun, even when it's like, you know,
well,
even when we've spoken about Chibnall era and stuff like that, we always end up having pretty good discussion about it. You know, despite the decline in quality that it had.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to series 14/season 1, that's going to be an interesting one to discuss.
It will.
Because, yeah, obviously we didn't do a mini-sode on the Christmas special. We'll discuss that in June. So that's July. June. At some point, whenever they put the stupid thing out. I don't know when. I think we've covered everything.
I mean, cinema experience, what would you say is like the best cinema experience you've had over 2023?
While I'm looking at the poster on my wall, literally above me, finally seeing Return of the Jedi in the cinema was a profound experience. It's the one I've always wanted to see on the big... I mean, granted, I can't fully say that was the top one because it was the Disney Plus Blu-ray version. So you have Darth Vader yelling "No" when he throws the Emperor down that stupid shaft and he survives. Apparently. According to one version of the canon. Not my canon. Hashtag not my canon.
Hashtag not my Star Wars.
We're not going there. But even now, I mean, I've said before, I mean that movie, I still cry at the end for it. Always have. I will actually say, despite the way that it ended, and the fact we still had fun talking about it in the car at like 5:30 in the morning, I think our trip to Tyneside Cinema back in October was such a unique experience I've never had before, to the point that I would consider doing something like that again. Just not on horror sequels. Or at least know they're going to be crap. Well, the last one.
At least know that Halloween 3 Season of the Witch isn't the last one.
I'd rather watch Halloween Ends. And I don't mind Halloween Ends. I don't mind it more than Dan does.
Dan really doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't like it.
No.
No.
I'd say there are two contenders here. Definitely the Tyneside Cinema thing, because again, you're spot on with it being, Oh yeah, of course. Totally.
Just dying over it.
Definitely a first time thing for us, and yeah, we were absolutely zombified by the time we got to Chesley Street at like 5:30 in the morning.
I just love looking at the photos that I took of the two of us between showings, and just the bags under my eyes.
Yeah,
just like
you kind of just see the decline in mentality a little bit.
Just like, oh yeah, we're looking forward to this. Oh yeah, it's a film. Oh god, it's a film. I want to go home.
Kind of got to the point where the coffee wasn't just having an effect.
I did. How many coffees did I have? I think it was like 5 coffees I'd had in like,
like
6 hours.
And it was quite strong coffee.
Yeah, it was. It was nice coffee. It was good coffee. It was good coffee. It helped for a bit.
But I would also say Godzilla -1 just for how surprising it actually was, and just seeing a Godzilla film on screen again that isn't utter drivel.
Yeah, to think the last time I saw a Godzilla film in the cinema was King of the Monsters. Again, I'm glad that we're not covering that film specifically, because I just get annoyed. Like, the more I think about it, the more I get... that being said, I did actually randomly rewatch the sequence in that one when Rodan wakes up from his slumber in the volcano. I like that scene. That's good. It's a shame about the rest of it. Mostly because I really love the delivery from Kyle Chandler when he's like, as he's like waking up and he's like, so he's looking for a food, a fight, or something more intimate. I'm thinking, I don't think he's looking to King Ghidorah. I'm thinking, I've got 3 options here.
I don't think he's looking at King Ghidorah and thinking, smash.
I mean, technically they do.
Oh, God.
I suppose, if we're gonna... Anyway. Yeah, I mean, Godzilla -1 was pretty high up, I think, in cinema experience for me. I could say that, but I think the second viewing was better, mostly just looking over at my girlfriend, who... I mean, this was, like, one of her first Godzilla movies properly, and just seeing her just sort of, like, smirk and, like her hands going over her face at certain points. I'm just like, this is the reaction I needed. And it's coming from the Gecko movie.
It's coming from the Gecko.
But no, that one was such an experience. But I still think the Tyneside one, I think, was just the most unique one, I think.
Yeah, because it was the first time for us to ever do something like that.
Full on all-nighter in a cinema, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to hurt. No, actually, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
I just still kind of laugh the fact that a lot of the sequels were
not
just
good.
ones that like.
Well, one of the
Well,
missions.
it was the fact that it was like Friday the 13th Part 4. You've only seen the original, so you skipped 2 and 3. And then there was a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. You've only seen the original.
Sci-fi sequels, that could be an interesting one because there's not many.
Yeah,
good
it could
ones.
be.
Anyway, yeah, that pretty much covers our thoughts on the ups and downs of 2023. Poor future version of Reagan's going to have a fun time editing this one. I think it's safe to say. But thank you very much for listening. I really hope you do actually enjoy it. As ever, there'll be plenty of links in the description to various stuff. Next week, though, we are beginning to discuss a particular film trilogy. Yeah, beginning. We're going to be tackling a trilogy of movies that we thoroughly like. Now, technically with the Dark Knight trilogy, we just covered it in one episode. I thought, you know what? If we're going to be talking about a particular adventurer running around with a stupidly long rope and a stupid hat...
Spider-Man.
He doesn't have a hat.
I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
He doesn't have a hat. Well,
He
Spider-Man
could.
Noir does. talk about that one in a couple months. No, we are going to be tackling Indiana Jones. So we will kick things off, of course, with, as Disney Plus calls it, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. What a stupid title. Don't put his name in
Very
it.
long.
It's awful. But yeah, we will be tackling Raiders of the Lost Ark next week, and then Temple of Doom, then The Last Crusade after that. That's going to be a fun one. As in all three, they're going to be fun. So you can look forward to that next week. As I said, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you then. And until then, it's goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.